one thing you'll find at Adler weddings is there's way too much talking. It's only 45 pages. So for those of you who don't know, my family has a strong tradition, as Elliot alluded to earlier, of attending a summer camp called Keewaydin on Lake Dunmore. And at Keewaydin, we would go out on these long, multi-day camping trips. And for many of us, Keewaydin is kind of where our love of Vermont began. And so when I spent some time kind of reflecting on Robbie and Ruthie, or Emily, we'll go with that for a bit. So when I spent some time thinking about Vermont and Emily and Robbie, that sounds a little funny, but anyway, I began to realize that really, like, the canoe trips that we went on are in many ways somewhat is an allegory for marriage. And so, you know, and each canoe trip, like each marriage, is a unique experience. No one is like another. Even if you might follow similar itineraries, you know, on the Lake George trip or the Verentry trip, one marriage is unlike another. And the campers on each trip vary. The weather is different. And the things that you see on your trip are unlike anything that anyone else will see on their trip. It's a unique experience, and you'll share only with your trip mate what you see on your trip for the rest of your life. So tomorrow you'll set off on your lifetime canoe trip, if you will, and you'll paddle to new places together. You'll witness things for the first time, hopefully like the birth of Gemma and Jack's cousin. No pressure. And no one will know what it's like to be on your trip except for you. Now, on a canoe trip, you generally know your itinerary, but the route's not set in stone. And so I would say look for opportunities to deviate off course a bit. Take turns paddling stern. Marriage is a path of two people. Sometimes your boat will need to go in the direction for one person, but the path that you choose cannot always be that path. On a canoe trip, not all days are 75 degrees and sunny with a tailwind. You'll have thunderstorms, you'll have long portages, and you'll have mosquitoes that will keep you up all night, generally in the first 6 months after they're born. If your boat flips in the rapids, talk about it. And hopefully next time you'll avoid the rocks. On a canoe trip, some days you can go out for long paddles, and other days are much shorter. I've often thought that it's kind of ironic that Robbie took 2 long paddles to California, the first to move in with his roommate Shay, to look for a career, and the second in search of the woman of his dreams, and yet both of them were found in Middlebury. So why will Robbie and Ruthie make great trippers together? Well, Robbie is a great guy to have on a canoe trip. At Keewaydin, Robbie was a best tripper. His first year back on staff, he was asked to go on the senior 18-day canoe trip, which is quite an honor. And he's basically one of the most thoughtful, responsible people I know, and he takes care of others. He also knows how to avoid danger, and that's really important in a marriage, which is why, as an example of Robbie avoiding danger, on the trip he took with Johnny to New Zealand right after high school, he had Johnny's coffee made every morning before Johnny got out of bed. Ruthie is a great girl to have on a canoe trip. She's warm, she's caring, and she has that magical, sparkling smile that just lights up a room and lights up each of us every time we see it. And she's also an amazing cook, which is something that makes everyone on a canoe trip very happy. Robbie and Ruthie, Abigail, Jack, and I look forward to our trips together, to our trips crossing paths, paddling alongside you, and to hearing about all the places that you'll go together. And so with that, we raise our glasses with love and excitement for the canoe trip of a life that you'll start tomorrow.